Hi folks, welcome to today's color process video. This comic is, as you can see, it's a pretty simple comic in terms of its everything. So it didn't actually take me all that long to color this. It only took me, let's see, 46 minutes according to the clock there. Um, I mean, really what it boiled down to was the fact that this is just a series of simple shapes, and with Dracula in particular, it's just a big slab of black for his like shoulders and cape and his hair. Um, so really, the main thing I have to talk about here is it was unintentional, but when I drew this, one thing I immediately spotted was that the woman, completely unintentionally, but she ended up looking quite a lot like Gillian Anderson. And I decided, since that was the case, coloring the comic, I should just double down on that. On that. Oh, words. Hi folks, welcome to today's color process video. One thing I want to talk about with today's comic, seeing as there isn't actually really all that much to talk about today, since it's a fairly simple comic, um, is a little detail that wasn't intentional, at least when I was drawing it. However, it was something I decided to double down on once I started coloring it. The woman in the comic, um, I don't know if you've noticed this. Um, she wasn't really meant to look like anybody. She was just a random character. I just wanted her to look old timey and like she's actually from, say, Victorian times. However, after I finished drawing the comic, one thing I very quickly realized was that I had basically drawn Gillian Anderson. For those of you who may not be familiar with who Gillian Anderson is, she played Scully in the X Files. And so I decided, since she looked like that, rather than try to steer away from that, when coloring the comic, I rather went the opposite direction. I felt that if she looked like that in the drawing, I may as well get that across in the colors as well. So I gave her a very, a fairly similar hair color, and just the general look of her. Yeah. So just one of those like little things that wasn't intended, but I decided to just go with it. In a way, you could call it a happy accident, and sometimes they're the best. That's the best element of doing these comics, where you have like a happy little accident like that, and if anything, it kind of adds to the comic as a result. And then, like with the rest of the colors, yeah, I was thinking about like adding like some shading to the characters, but I decided the art was so simple here, um, that instead of shading the characters, I just decided to add like some extra little detail. Like for example, the woman's face, like her eyes, I just gave them just a slightly, just I darkened the eyelids a bit just to give her almost this kind of like tired kind of look, as if she's just like sick of what this fella's doing to her. And on top of that, I just decided to, within the characters, like all the line work within, say, the outer contour, I decided to color all the line work there. So I find in a way that can kind of add a bit more. I don't know what it is, like some shape to the character. I can't quite explain it, but I find that even if you don't add shading to a character, when you add color to the line work, it does something. It yeah, it's one of those things you can't really put your finger on, or at least I can't put my finger on. But I find in cases where I don't feel like, or don't feel like I need to do shading, I might go that route instead. And then for the background, I just went with a simple gradient. I was thinking maybe the background looked a bit too plain. Well, a bit too plain, as in like, there's nothing there. And I did consider when I was coloring this, adding in some kind of a simple background, like be it like just a brickwork or something like that. However, in the end, I decided in this case it wasn't really needed. Um, like maybe it would have added something to the comic to have some kind of a sense of setting, but I think in this case I can get away with it just because of the I don't know, the framing of the comic, and also like I think if this wasn't Dracula, if it was just some random monster, I'd probably need more of a setup for the setting of the piece. But I think in this case, because it's Dracula, you're going to assume it's like at his castle or in her house or whatever. And ugh, now that I say that, that sounds incredibly lazy of me. But do you know what? Give me this. Sometimes you just need to take a break from doing backgrounds, and I've done backgrounds in quite a few of my latest comics. So yeah, yeah, I think I deserve to take a break this one time. This one time I say like I do backgrounds in every single comic. Anyways, yeah, I think I've rambled on long enough, so I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you at the next video. Take care.